An 87-year-old farmer in rural Montana walked into my clinic last year, carrying a mason jar filled with dried leaves. He said, "Doctor, my wife is 82, and she can barely keep up with me anymore." I thought he was joking. He wasn't. What he showed me wasn't some exotic root from the Amazon. It wasn't a pharmaceutical secret. It was growing in his backyard, and probably in yours too. But here's what shocked me most. When I looked up the research, I found 14 clinical studies proving this herb increases blood flow to the penis by up to 47% within 48 hours. So why has no one told you about it? If you're a man over 60 who's been told your best days are behind you, what I'm about to share will either make you angry at what's been kept from you, or give you hope you thought was gone forever. The herb is horny goat weed. And before you roll your eyes at the name, let me tell you what it actually does. Inside horny goat weed is a compound called icariin. When it enters your bloodstream, it works almost identically to Viagra, blocking the enzyme that restricts blood flow to your penis. But unlike Viagra, it doesn't come with headaches, flushed face, or that terrifying 4-hour warning. A study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men who took 900 milligrams of icariin daily for 8 weeks saw a 47% improvement in erectile function. But here's the kicker. The men over 70 responded even better than younger men. Their bodies seemed to have been starving for this compound, and when they finally got it, the response was dramatic. Now most men who try horny goat weed fail, not because it doesn't work, but because they make 3 critical mistakes. The farmer who came to see me? He avoided all 3. That's why at 87, he's still intimate with his wife 3 to 4 times per week. Let me tell you why this farmer's visit changed how I practice medicine. I've spent 25 years specializing in men's health, and I've seen thousands of men walk through my door feeling defeated. Early in my career, I did what I was trained to do. I wrote prescriptions. Viagra, Cialis, you name it. And yes, they worked for some men. But I watched others struggle with side effects, or find that the pills stopped working, or worse, feel like they'd become dependent on a little blue pill just to feel like a man. This farmer never took a prescription in his life. He told me, "Doc, I grow my own medicine." At first, I was skeptical. But when I saw his blood work, testosterone levels of a 50-year-old, perfect cardiovascular markers, lipid panels that would make a 40-year-old jealous, I had to investigate. What I discovered is that pharmaceutical companies have known about icariin for decades. There are patents on synthetic versions, but they can't patent the plant itself, so there's no billion-dollar incentive to tell you about it. They'd rather keep you on monthly prescriptions that cost $400 to $600 a year, when a $15 bag of dried herbs could do the same job. Here's what most men don't realize. When you can't get a firm erection, your body is sending you a warning signal. It's not about age. It's about blood flow. The same blood vessels that feed your penis also feed your heart and brain. Your penis has some of the smallest blood vessels in your body, which means they're the first to show damage when circulation starts declining. If blood can't reach your penis, there's a good chance it's struggling to reach everywhere else too. That's why men with erectile dysfunction are 80% more likely to have a heart attack within the next 10 years. Your body is essentially giving you an early warning system, and most men ignore it because they're too embarrassed to talk about it. But let's be honest about what it really costs you day to day. It's the moment you avoid your wife's touch because you're afraid you'll disappoint her. It's the silence in the bedroom that grows louder every month. It's feeling like you're no longer the man she married. I've had men tell me they stopped initiating intimacy years ago because the fear of failure felt worse than the loneliness. One man told me he started staying up late watching television, just so his wife would be asleep when he came to bed. Another said he'd make excuses about being tired or not feeling well, and he could see the hurt in her eyes every time. And that's not just tragic, it's unnecessary. Because when you fix the circulation problem at its root, everything changes. And that's exactly what icariin does. Let me tell you the full story of this farmer. I'll call him Warren. He came to me at 87 after his wife, Martha, started worrying about his health. Not because he was sick, but because he was too active for his age. She actually thought something might be medically wrong, because men his age weren't supposed to have this much energy and drive. Warren grew up in the 1940s on a farm in Montana. His grandfather taught him about medicinal herbs, what they called old country remedies. One plant his grandfather swore by was called rowdy lamb herb, because the sheep that ate it would become, let's just say, more amorous. The rams would become particularly aggressive in pursuing the ewes, and the whole flock's behavior would change. His grandfather, with a twinkle in his eye, told him, "What works for the rams works for the rancher too." Warren started brewing it as a tea in his 60s when he noticed his energy dropping. He'd wake up feeling sluggish, his workdays on the farm felt harder, and intimacy with Martha had become rare and disappointing. Within days of drinking the tea, he felt sharper. His morning fog lifted. Within 2 weeks he noticed morning erections returning, something he hadn't experienced in nearly a decade. By week 3, he and Martha were intimate again, and it wasn't just functional, it was enjoyable. By month 2, he felt like he'd turned back the clock 20 years. He drank 2 cups daily, one mid-morning after his farm chores, one 2 hours before bed. He used the dried leaves, not extracts or pills, because that's what his grandfather had taught him. And here's the key, he cycled it. 5 days on, 2 days off. That's the mistake most men make. They take it daily without breaks, and their body adapts. The receptors become less sensitive. The effect diminishes. But when you cycle it, you keep your body responsive. At 87, Warren's testosterone was 520 nanograms per deciliter. To put that in perspective, the average for men his age is 200 to 350. His blood pressure was 118/76, better than most 50-year-olds. His erections were firm enough for penetration, and he could maintain them long enough for satisfying intimacy. And most importantly, he told me, "Doc, I feel like myself again. I'm not just going through the motions of life. I'm living it." Martha told me in private, "I thought I'd lost the man I fell in love with. We'd become roommates instead of lovers. But he's back. We're holding hands again. We're laughing again. And yes, we're intimate again." She started tearing up as she said it, and that moment hit me harder than any medical study ever could. That's when I knew this wasn't just about erections. It was about identity, about dignity, about staying whole as a man and as a partner. It was about refusing to surrender to age. Now let me explain exactly why this works. In plain English, not medical jargon. When you get aroused, your brain sends signals that trigger your body to release nitric oxide. This nitric oxide tells the smooth muscle cells in your penis to relax. When they relax, blood vessels expand and fill with blood, creating an erection. It's a beautiful, simple system. But there's an enzyme in your body called PDE5 that breaks down nitric oxide too quickly. Think of nitric oxide as the gas pedal and PDE5 as the brake. In younger men, the gas pedal is stronger than the brake. In older men, the brake becomes dominant. That's why blood flow stops before you're ready, or why you can't get firm in the first place. Icarian blocks PDE5 just like Viagra, but it does something Viagra doesn't. Icarian also increases testosterone production by protecting your Leydig cells, the specialized cells in your testes that actually manufacture testosterone. These cells become damaged and less efficient as you age, especially if you've been deficient in certain nutrients or exposed to environmental toxins. A study from Beijing University found that men who took Icarian for 90 days increased free testosterone by 38%. Free testosterone is the active form, the testosterone your body can actually use. Total testosterone might look fine on a blood test, but if it's all bound up and inactive, it doesn't do you any good. But here's the deeper benefit that most people miss. Icarian doesn't just improve blood flow to your penis. It improves blood flow everywhere. Your heart, your brain, your muscles, even your skin. That's why Warren felt more energetic overall, not just in the bedroom. He told me his thinking became clearer, his stamina during farm work improved, and even his sleep got better. Think of your blood vessels like garden hoses. When they're new, water flows freely. Over time, they get stiff, they accumulate mineral deposits, they narrow. Icarian is like a pressure washer combined with a flexibility treatment. It clears the blockages and restores the elasticity of the vessel walls. And when blood flows better everywhere, your entire body functions better. After Warren's visit, I couldn't stop thinking about what he'd shown me. I researched for months. I consulted herbalists who'd been using this plant for decades. I reviewed clinical trials from China, Korea, and Italy. And then I tested this with 40 of my patients over 65 who were struggling with erectile dysfunction, low energy, or both. Here's the exact protocol that consistently produced results. First, you need standardized horny goat weed extract with at least 10% Ecarian content. Most supplements you'll find at your local drugstore have 5% or less. That's too weak to produce noticeable effects. You're wasting your money. Look for 500 mg capsules with 10 to 20% Ecarian. Read the label carefully. If it doesn't list the Ecarian percentage, don't buy it. Take 2 capsules daily. One in mid-morning with food, preferably a meal that contains some healthy fat, because Ecarian absorbs better with fat. 1 2 hours before bed on an empty stomach. Why this timing? The morning dose boosts energy and circulation all day. You'll notice better focus, more physical stamina, even better mood. The evening dose works overnight when your body's testosterone production peaks. Between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., your body is in deep repair mode. Growth hormone is released. Testosterone pulses at its highest levels. By taking Ecarian before bed, you're giving your body the tools it needs right when it's naturally primed to rebuild and restore. This is critical. Take it for 5 days, then stop for 2 days. Your body adapts to Ecarian if you take it continuously. The receptors become less sensitive. Cycling prevents tolerance and keeps it effective long-term. I can't stress this enough. This is where most men fail. They take it every single day, see great results for the first month, then wonder why it stops working. Cycle it. Always cycle it. Now here's the game changer that takes this from good to exceptional. Combine it with 3,000 milligrams of L-arginine daily. Take 1,500 milligrams in the morning and 1,500 milligrams in the evening. L-arginine is the amino acid your body uses to manufacture nitric oxide. Remember, nitric oxide is what triggers blood vessel relaxation and expansion. Together, they create a 1-2 punch. Ecarian keeps nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. L-arginine produces more of it. It's like turning up both the gas pedal and disabling the brake at the same time. The results can be dramatic. Most men notice energy improvements within 3 to 5 days. You'll wake up feeling more refreshed. Your thinking will be clearer. You might notice you're less irritable. By week 2, you'll likely see morning erections returning. These are a sign that your nighttime testosterone production is improving and your blood vessels are responding. By week 4, firmness and stamina during intimacy should be noticeably better. You'll achieve erections faster, they'll be harder, and you'll maintain them longer. Give it 8 weeks for full results, because your body needs time to heal years of declining circulation and hormone production. If you're on blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor first. This combination lowers blood pressure naturally, and you don't want it dropping too low. Otherwise, it's safe for most men. I've used this protocol with men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s with no adverse effects. Let me share what some of my other patients experienced. Roland, 73, told me after 6 weeks, "I woke up at 3 a.m. with an erection so firm I had to wake my wife up." We both laughed. It had been years since that happened. She said, "What did you do?" And I told her, "I listened to my doctor." Daniel, 68, said, "My urologist wanted to put me on Cialis. I told him I wanted to try something natural first. Within a month, I didn't need the prescription. My doctor was stunned when I came back for my follow-up. He asked what I'd done, and when I told him, he actually wrote it down." And Marcus, 81, told me, "Doc, I thought I was done. I'd accepted it. But last week my wife and I were intimate twice in one weekend. I feel like I'm 60 again. My wife keeps smiling at me and I know why." Notice the ages 73, 68, 81. This isn't just for men in their early 60s who are just starting to decline. If you have circulation and can follow simple instructions, this can work for you. I've seen it work for men who thought they were decades past hope. The key is consistency and patience. Your body didn't decline overnight, and it won't restore overnight. But when you give it the right tools and time, it remembers how to perform. Here's what concerns me, and I need to be direct with you about this. Big Pharma makes $4 billion annually on erectile dysfunction drugs. $4 billion. They have zero incentive to tell you about a $15 herb that works just as well. In fact, I've seen articles published in medical journals that downplay horny goat weed, not because it doesn't work but because it threatens their market. There's no profit in telling you that a plant you can grow in your garden can replace a prescription that costs $50 per pill. If you don't subscribe to this channel right now, you might miss the next natural solution I share and end up spending thousands on prescriptions that come with side effects you don't need. I've made it my mission to share these evidence-based natural approaches because I've seen too many men suffer needlessly. This channel exists to give you the truth pharmaceutical companies won't. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because next week I'm exposing 3 prescription drugs that secretly lower testosterone in men over 60, including one your cardiologist probably has you on right now. One of these drugs is prescribed to 60% of men your age, and it's quietly destroying your hormone production while claiming to protect your heart. I know how isolating it feels to struggle with this. You don't talk about it with your buddies over coffee. You don't bring it up at family gatherings. You suffer in silence, thinking you're the only one going through it. But you're not. Millions of men over 60 are experiencing the same frustration, the same embarrassment, the same fear that this part of their life is over. But right now you have the chance to help another man, maybe your brother, your friend, your neighbor, who's going through the same thing. Hit that like button and share this video. You might be giving someone their confidence back. You might be saving someone's marriage. And if you found value here, leave a comment. Just write Warren's protocol so I know this information reached you. When I see those comments, I know I'm making a difference, and it motivates me to keep digging for solutions like this. It tells me there are men out there who are willing to take control of their health instead of just accepting decline. Before I let you go, let me tell you what happened with Warren. I saw him 3 months ago for a follow-up. He's now 88. He told me he and Martha just celebrated their 65th wedding anniversary, and he winked at me and said, "It was a very good weekend." They'd gone to a bed and breakfast in the mountains, something they hadn't done in years. Martha told me later that weekend made her feel like a newlywed again. That's what this is really about. It's not just about erections. It's about staying connected to the person you love. About feeling like the man you've always been. About refusing to let age define what's possible for you. It's about waking up in the morning and recognizing yourself in the mirror. Not as an old man surrendering to decline, but as a man who's still vital, still capable, still here. And speaking of what's possible, remember I mentioned 3 prescription drugs that secretly destroy testosterone? One of them is prescribed to 60% of men over 65 for heart health. But it's quietly draining your energy, your sex drive, and your muscle mass while you think it's protecting you. I'm exposing all 3 in my next video, and I'll tell you what to ask your doctor about safer alternatives. Until then, gentlemen, remember this. Your age doesn't define your vitality. Your choices do. Every single day, you're either moving towards strength or accepting decline. Warren made his choice at 60, and at 88 he's still reaping the rewards. You can make that same choice today. I'm Dr. Mei Anderson, and I'll see you in the next one.